Hafa, welcome to Coffee with the Candidates. I'm Paulie Suba. With me today is on the Republican side, number 4 on the Republican side, Mr. Ken Leon Guerrero. Hafa.
Hafa, and thank you for having me.
Oh, it is a pleasure. So real quick, we'll just get right into it. I got a question here. Why are you running for office?
The reason I'm running for office is I've been trying for the past 3 election cycles to get new faces into the legislature. But unfortunately, it hasn't worked because most of the people I talk to are successful in their own careers, so they have businesses, and they can't afford to walk away from their career or business. So the only way we're going to expand the candidate pool and get beyond politically well-connected insiders and the usual recycled candidates over and over again is to change the election laws. So that's why I'm running, to change the election laws and to bring the voice of the people to the floor of the legislature. Because when you watch the debates and discussions, it seems like they're only concerned about how political parties or how government employees are going to run things or react to things. What they don't seem to remember is that there's only 11,000 government employees. There's 153,000 ungovernment employees, and that's who I'm going to be standing up for on the floor.
Would you be focusing on smaller government, and you want to care to put into detail if you are?
Well, by default, we're going to have a smaller government because we have a smaller economy. And we were having a smaller economy before COVID hit. I mean, prior to COVID hitting, we were getting reports that the economy had been stagnant or flat or even declining for the last few years prior to COVID. Since COVID has hit, we've shut down the economy. We've shut down all industry. We've laid off nearly 40,000 employees. So the tax collections are going down. And unfortunately, way too many small businesses are not going to recover. And the tax collections from those businesses are going to go down. And not only that, but a lot of those businesses owe taxes for last year. But if they're not in existence, they're not going to be able to pay the taxes. So we have to have a smaller government. And that's something that we will be working very closely with the administration to do. And I say, the legislature sets the policy and the budget. And that's how we will make changes to this government, because we're going to be realistic. I'm hoping we get enough new faces in there that we can be realistic about how we budget. And maybe that will spur the administration to do all the things they promised to do on the campaign trail but haven't done yet.
Care to elaborate on the promises that you feel have not been fulfilled?
Well, if you think back to 2018 on the campaign trail, all the senators and all the gubernatorial candidates all promised they were going to right-size government of Guam. They were going to streamline government of Guam. They were going to bring a sense of financial responsibility. They were going to be more open and transparent about how your tax dollars are spent. And none of that happened. In fact, the first budget the governor introduced after becoming governor was a bigger budget. So she took us from $968 million to $1 billion. And on the table right now, she's fighting hard to preserve a $1.1 billion budget. And most of the senators went along for the ride in 2019. And in 2020, most of them appear to be going along for the ride one more time.
You brought up the pandemic. How would you have handled the economic crisis resulting from COVID-19 pandemic?
Well, after we've had the shutdown for a while and determined that we did not have the spread that we were seeing in the Philippines, Japan, Korea, and the US, I would have kept the local economy going, because when we look at all the new cases, all the new cases are from travelers or people closely associated with the travelers. So I would have strengthened our quarantine procedures, made sure that nobody got out scot-free or got a pass like we see so many government officials bypassing the quarantine procedures. And then I would have encouraged, as a policymaker, I would have encouraged the governor to open up the local economy, because I was at a business in Tamuning, a large restaurant, but at half capacity,
Right.
they're dying.
Right.
You know, they didn't bring, you go in there, there's not as many staff working as
Right.
you normally see. And there was a line of people outside waiting to get in. And a lot of them were leaving, going to places that didn't have a line. And so my heart went out to this business owner, because he's made these tremendous investments in this business, and it's dying before his eyes.
Right.
You know, so we've lost a lot of our small businesses. We've destroyed our retail industry. And I think our hospitality industry is going to take body blows that it's going to take years to recover from.
Are there any other subject matters that you're interested in bringing into the 36th legislature? Sounds a lot like economics and smaller government. Anything else that you would like to hit on?
Well, public safety is big.
Okay.
And then the reason I say public safety is big, because as a candidate walking from door to door in an effort to collect signatures,
Right.
I saw how much fear our people live in. I went to a street in Tamuning, and every street on that house has fences or walls.
Right.
They all have security gates.
Right.
And they all have bars on the windows and triple locks on the front doors. Our people have become prisoners in our own homes. And that's because the drug epidemic is out of control. And for years, I have been pushing policymakers on low-cost, simple things they could do to help reduce the flow, but they don't have the political will to do that, and it's been very frustrating. Things like, instead of spending $3.5 million on the FestPack, one-time use FestPack huts, they could have bought a large number of trained drug-sniffing dogs and paid for the training for the handlers to have enough dogs to check every suitcase coming off a plane, every cargo container coming off a plane, and every cargo container coming off a
Right.
ship. We have 2 ports of entry, well,
Right.
3, the mail, but the mail comes through the ships or
Right.
the air. So if we beefed up security,
Right.
cut down the flow, but that has to have a second component with it. We need to have an aggressive and comprehensive, no-cost rehabilitation program for people who want to change their lives. They need to be able to go into a well-designed drug rehab program. But the way things are set up now, you can't get into a drug rehab program unless you have insurance, which about 62% of Guam's families don't have. So it's a catch-22.
Right.
You want to slow down the drugs, you have to change the mindset of the customer base. You have to minimize it and
Right.
giving them an option. We're going to start increasing enforcement. We're going to start increasing jail terms. So while you can, before you get caught, we recommend you turn yourself into one of these rehabilitation programs.
Right.
So that's a very, very high priority, because the people don't feel safe. And now with 34,000 people unemployed,
Right.
looking broke and out of food, out of money,
Right.
we're seeing crime go up. I think you saw on the internet, the last couple of months, we've seen video cameras of people pulling up to other people's houses and stealing.
Yeah.
That's going to get worse before it gets better, unless we ramp up the enforcement. And so on equal level is public health. We're in the midst of a public health crisis.
Right.
Our chronic disease rates are going up, and they're skyrocketing. Every family has someone suffering from diabetes, cancer, cardiac disease, high blood pressure, metabolic syndrome, or obesity. But our public health care system is collapsing, due in large part to the neglect from our current policymakers.
Right.
They introduce a law that's a corporate welfare bill for Guam Regional, but the short-term result of that bill is to take $20 million out of funds out of the public treasury. $10 million increase in the cost of insurance, but it also diverted $10 million in revenue away from Guam Memorial Hospital, which is causing the taxpayers to have to come up with more money. You see, Guam Memorial Hospital is the healthcare lifeboat for the people of Guam. Not everybody has the money or resources to fly to Manila, fly to Los Angeles for healthcare. 90% of the people of Guam depend on Guam Memorial Hospital to be their healthcare lifeboat. Right now, we know that 21,000 people last year used the emergency room as their primary care physician because they don't have healthcare insurance. So you have to be safe, you have to be healthy, but what are our lawmakers debating today? Eliminating plastic bags. I mean, eliminating
Right.
what is it? The decomposing plastic
Right.
bags. You know, last month it was the dumb hiker, dumb swimmer bill. You know, and the month before that it was to give government of Guam employees choice next year. So the bulk of the senators in the 35th legislature are totally disconnected from the people they were elected to serve. And that's another reason why I'm running.
Right.
To make sure that the people's concerns are heard.
Well, you touch bases on so many subjects that are very important to the island of Guam. My best of luck to you, sir. Once again, you are on for the primaries, number 4 on the Republican side, right?
Yes, I am.
All right. Is there anything else that you would like to share with us? You got about like 30 seconds.
It's very important that everybody watching this video get in there and vote, because large numbers of votes will change our island for the better. So don't wait for the general, vote in the primary. Call 477-9791, Guam Election Commission, and make an appointment to vote.
Thank you, sir. Ken Leon Guerrero, once again, number 4 on the Republican side for the primaries. I believe it could be changing again in the general. Best of luck to you, sir.
Thank you very much.
This
Nice meeting you finally.
Yes, this has been Coffee with the Candidates. We have another interview, so stay here.